The MPV is dead, long live the SUV. Well, the mini SUV anyway. Yes, Citroën has ditched its C3 Picasso in place of a beefier version of its C3 Supermini, which aims to offer greater practicality and comfort. And this is it, the C3 Aircross, a potential competitor to the vast mini SUV crossover competition like the Nissan Juke, Renault Captur, Peugeot 2008 and many, many others. And first of all, let's just check its worthiness of that mini SUV moniker. Does it have a chunky body kit? Yep. What about a two-tone paint job? Yep. And what about a name that's a play on the word crossover, but oh, yeah, it's got one of them as well. But let's take a closer look. Well, as they are usually jacked up super minis, mini SUVs can be a bit predictable and, well, boring inside, but this is not the case with the C3 Aircross, because it's like Citroën has given an interior decorator an iPad and said, go nuts. But with all the right results, with loads of quirky design features dotted around and these rather unique material inlays. And okay, there are still quite a few scratchy plastics dotted around, but at least this eye candy helps distract you from it a bit, which can't be said for a lot of its similarly priced competition. Now, there are just 3 trims to choose from: touch, feel and flare, with all models getting a decent amount of kit, the likes of DAB radio, aircon, cruise control, USB connectivity, and there's some nifty safety features thrown in too, the likes of traffic sign recognition and lane keep assist. However, you will have to go for the mid-range trim if you want this touchscreen system. Now, we've actually got the flagship flare trim, which adds the two-tone paint job, 17-inch alloys, and the added techiness of sat-nav, rear parking sensors, and keyless entry and ignition. And this touchscreen system, well, yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's not by no means the best system out there, but it's quite logical, it's quite easy to use, and even the sat-nav has a proper pinch and swipe function. One thing that's not so intuitive, however, is the fact that you've got to go through some menus to get to the aircon features, which, I mean, it's fine when you're parked like this, but when you're on the move and that's 70 miles an hour on the motorway and you're prodding at the screen, it can be a bit of a pain. I mean, come on, Citroën, I know you're trying to declutter it, but just put some buttons down here. Some buttons are definitely worth the mess. But I guess the most prevalent characteristic in here is comfort, from the patchwork inlays to these spongy seats and conveniently placed armrests. And in fact, the driving position is very comfortable, but on long motorway journeys, it can lack a bit of lower back support. And one other slightly disappointing thing in here is the storage solutions. I mean, at a glance, it looks pretty good, but I mean, you've got this tiny glove box, this shelf here, which you're never going to use, this weird loose change tray here, which the handbrake actually gets in the way of, and these awkwardly sized door bins. I mean, to be honest, you'll probably just end up piling your keys, loose change, wallet, phone, and sunglasses on top of one another in this central storage here, which, to be honest, just looks a bit messy. But I tell you what, one thing the C3 Aircross certainly is deceptive when it comes to space. I mean, looking at its exterior, you might not think there's much wiggle room back here for rear passengers, but you'd be wrong. I mean, look at this. There's absolutely loads of leg room and loads of headroom, provided you don't go for the optional glass roof, I should say. Yeah, these seats slide back and forth as well, which is a nifty little feature, and they even recline for added convenience. So you should be able to find a seating position that keeps everyone happy. And just like the front, you've got a conveniently placed armrest, which makes it very easy to get comfortable, and we've even got these optional sun visors. And even the middle seat is comfortable. I mean, yes, leg room is somewhat limited due to the passengers on your left and right, but headroom is in abundance, and we certainly don't feel claustrophobic in this seat. My one complaint is the fact that these seat belts do stick into your bum a bit. I mean, okay, there are little hidey holes for them to go away, but yeah, as a driver you should probably get used to seeing your middle passenger going like this. And last but not least, you've got this middle seat, which folds down to reveal 2 handy cup holders. The C3's TARDIS-like appeal continues to the boot as well, and we're not just talking about load space in terms of litres, although it is one of the biggest compact SUVs out there. We're just talking about overall convenience and the fact that there's no load lift thanks to this handy adjustable boot floor. The opening's nice and high and wide, and the fact that those rear seats fold down nice and flat. And let's not forget, those seats do slide back and forth, so you can, well, you can minimise or maximise boot space to your heart's content. I mean, what can we say? Bravo, Citroën. When everyone started releasing small crossovers, they all pretty much drove the same, which is to say, they weren't all that exciting to drive. So to differentiate themselves, some started focusing on driving dynamics, like Mazda with its CX-3, which in turn made the likes of the CX-3 stand out in the oversaturated market. So where does the C3 Aircross sit? Well, on the complete other side of the spectrum, actually. As part of its advanced comfort mentality, Citroën has focused on a smooth, carefree and bump-free ride, which it achieves quite well, actually. It's really comfortable to drive. It soaks up dodgy tarmac and even smaller potholes pretty easily. And driving it around town is a very comfortable experience. Comfortable to a fault almost, in fact, as if you hit a few bumps in quick succession, the ride can get a bit jittery because the suspension really does have that much give. And then there's the F word, fun, because the C3 Aircross is in no way, shape or form entertaining to drive. I mean, yes, it's comfortable, but go into even the widest bend and you do get quite a bit of body roll, and the steering's quite rubbery and vague, which is weird because just off centre the steering's actually quite sharp, no doubt an attempt by Citroën to make it more city friendly, and the turning circle is quite tight as well. And then there's this 6-speed manual gearbox, which to be honest feels like it should be in a van due to its long throw and the fact that sometimes it can be a bit hesitant slotting into the right gate, even when you're trying to put it in neutral when parking. Yeah, it's not great. And in fact, this 1.2 litre petrol we're driving actually comes available with an automatic, so I would definitely look at that auto first. And speaking of the 1.2 litre, there are actually three cylinder engines available in this car, all 1.2 litre units, but with 3 different power outputs. Now we've got the middle output, which is 110 horsepower, and yeah, it's a good little engine. There's enough punch for pretty much any type of driving you're likely to be doing. Of course, it is a 3-cylinder, so you will need to cane it a bit if you want to get any life out of it, and it can get quite raspy and noisy when you rev it out. And fuel economy wise, you shouldn't have any problem getting around 40 to 45 miles per gallon in this engine. And with CO2 of 109 grams per kilometre, you're looking at a 25% BIK tax bracket for 2019 and 2020. In a way, it feels like Citroën's gone back to basics with the C3 Aircross, focusing on comfort and practicality rather than sportiness, and it's all the better for it, with an interior that's nice to spend time in and practicality that is bafflingly impressive given its rather small footprint. And there's not many small SUVs out there that can actually appeal to both your head and your heart. But you know what? This may just be one of them.